if you think about where the world is today, you have machine speed detection. Now you need a machine speed remediation.
Welcome to the Industrial Cybersecurity Insider. In each episode, we dive into the world of industrial cybersecurity. Join us as we cover the latest trends, innovations, and practical insights as we talk with leaders and practitioners across the industry. Gear up and let's get into this week's episode.
Hi, I'm Craig Duckworth, and today with me, I have the pleasure of introducing the CEO and founder of Remedio. Tal, welcome to the show. If you would, give us a little background about yourself, kind of how you got here and some things that you're working on today.
First, thank you so much, Craig, for having me. Yeah, sure, why not? So as today I am the CEO of Remedio, but I didn't start, and I wasn't born as the CEO of Remedio. I started in a young age when I got my first computer at I don't know, it was like 12 or 13. I during the summer when like the parents gave us some time like to be in front of a screen and not all day long. So I played some games over the internet, and there was like one game that I was really good at, and I woke up and I would say like it was like maybe 1 hour before they announce who the winners are, which by the way, I thought, okay, that's it. I mean, I know that I'm way above, the second place, I'm going to get it. And out of a sudden, I saw that I'm no longer number one. I am ranked number two. And someone came, he was never ranked before. I didn't see his name. And he was just, like the new winner. And I was like, what? I mean, how did he do it? Like in 12 hours or 10 hours? Like it doesn't make sense. And because I worked so hard in the past couple of weeks to make sure that I win it. And I said that no way that he won it, that he achieved it, or that he really made it in a legal way. He must have been cheated. But I said, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. And because I love challenges, and when people challenge me, that's something that really drives me. So long story short, I became the female version of Robin Hood, to my small town. It was really nice. I gave my friends lots of things for free. And then I just created my own software. Back in the day, it was very for SMBs, and it was email protection. So protecting against email, it was really not the way it is obviously like it is done today, but it did a pretty decent job. So I made my first $1 million before I was 18. And then I would say that I'm from Israel. So in Israel, we need to serve in the army when we are 18. Okay. It's a must. And at the age of 18, I joined the army as a fighter pilot. So again, I went there because people told me that there is no chance that they will get me. So that I will be, like accepted to the course. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I love when people are challenging me in that way, although they think, that probably, I don't know, it can hurt some people, but for me, it is nothing but motivation. And I just continued to the army, and I did 5.5 years. So I started in a fighter pilot course. I didn't survive the entire course because I thought I know better than the pilot. Apparently, he didn't think like me. So I just continued to some computer units, and they adapted my skills into, like to be a complete white hat hacker, but to think exactly what is open on I would say like the enemy, and to close it, and to develop some absolutely cool tools there. And then after 5.5 years, I just continued to some low tech, high tech companies. The last company I've been with was EMC, and then it was acquired by Dell. And I would say within the last few months at Dell, I just thought about, how come there are too many solutions that are telling you what is wrong and are not fixing the problem. Now, maybe I saw it prior to what's going on today with Mythos and everything, but that's what I believed in. How come you are not going to close those configuration drifts and everything that is still open, and enable any attacker to move laterally? And when I went to my friends sharing with them this idea, they said, it will not work. It will not work. It's only a feature. No one needs it. We do it today manually. It's good enough. I said, yeah, but what about some automation? What about safe remediation? You don't want to break things. No one really, I would say the majority didn't really believe in it. And I said, okay, I'll take it as a challenge. again, as I did prior to that. And this is how Remedio started. We started only, like it was only the three of us. We used to write everything, every line of code within the solution. We started Bootstrap only, and we had like a few customers at the beginning, and we said for 6.5 years, we said no to any money, even to some M&A offers or some, like to full acquisition. And the reason why we said no is because we can definitely, like the company can go, 100 times bigger, and we really want to be there and to help companies. So 400 companies after, we decided to take money for the first time. It was very late last year from Bessemer, 65 million. I believe it's like the largest seed for cybersecurity. And this is what kind of took the company from being a single product to a platform. And I love, seeing the faces of the people that, like that they use the solution and they love sharing their feedback with us. And that's what makes my day. And so thank you for letting me sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. That's an amazing story, and congratulations to you and your team. That's a great accomplishment. So let's do this. Let's kind of take a look at some of what you're seeing from where you guys play in the industrial side. What are you seeing as some of the major concerns today? Obviously, in the most recent news, over in the stateside at least, we've seen several incidents within the water, wastewater environment where third-party access or remote access into environments is still a concern. Whether they get in through business email or however they get there, the adversaries are moving laterally to get to the OT side, which is a softer target because a lot of times those assets are older. They are not as, security rich. How are you seeing that? What's some things that you're noticing as well?
Absolutely. It's a good question and a relevant question. And I do want to start with something that can reach out to each and every one of us. And if we just talk about, just the Hugging Face, like what happened with OpenAI, it is a sample of, because today everyone is using AI. But I want to tell you something. Many people don't know that in every, I would say, attack, there is misconfiguration abused. Okay, like there are some misconfigurations that are being abused by the attacker. Hugging Face is the amazing example because that AI that got out of control, they moved laterally, abusing WebDAV service. WebDAV service is a service that exists on I would say like Windows devices, endpoint servers. Today, it's even OT environment, you don't really need it. We in Remedio, not only that we tell you for the WebDAV, hey, it is there, but we tell you the state. Like if someone is using it, I mean, if you need it, if there are any dependencies, and that's what we do. We offer the safe remediation. So what we did is we analyzed the Hugging Face and what they did, and we saw how easy it is just to stop lateral movement if they just abuse one thing that we already offer. And so many customers of ours, they just already disabled this service, like the WebDAV. But the WebDAV is only, this service or whatever, it's only a symptom. Like you see that every lateral movement, whether it is with AI, whether it is with whatever, any attacking group that is abusing, critical infrastructure, OT, and unfortunately some things like even hospital, you see that they rely on the fact that the systems are not up to date. But today, even if they were up to date, they just know so many other 0 days that are out there that are not being patched. And it's not because of people didn't patch them. It's because maybe that's one reason, but let's say that everything is patched. They will still be able to get in and move laterally because the vendors, they don't have enough time to patch all of the findings that they just got from Mythos and similars. And we see it that once you have an attack and, you can create a lot of damage, cyber is still relevant, will always be relevant. There isn't, once we got it into our life, and once computers take control of the world, like we understand that cyber is here to stay. So as AI, of course. So the OT and the critical infrastructure, we do find many of our customers that they are trying to protect them in a different way. Sorry, just a second. Okay, you still hear me? Okay. We are trying, sorry, some windows just popped up. They are trying to protect them in a different way. And sometimes they are trying, like, because, we cannot really install everything that we can install on the IT, and we cannot really have whatever. So we always see, like the conflict between, we need to protect it. It is the most critical thing. But on the other hand, they are having a hard time to do it because they don't know the impact of things. They don't know how to harden it properly, and they don't know how to protect it the way they really want and desire because of those, what would be the impact if I'll do A, B, or C? And we are going to see more and more attacks towards critical infrastructure, OT, and even IT. Yeah, like there are many things that we don't even know that exist, that are out there, that are not even on the news.
Yeah, no, I would say you're 100% correct. And we see that from a manufacturing or an industrial network standpoint. A lot of the misconfigurations, a lot of a third-party vendor needs access. So someone goes in and modifies a control, they allow them in, and they forget to close that firewall rule, they forget to change that control back. And a part of that, I think, is because in the OT space, organizations are reluctant to make changes because of the implications those have in that environment. So they're not as willing to do it. You talked about patching. That's not commonplace in the industrial space. It's hard to, let's say, smoke screen. What happens if I patch a Rockwell asset or a Siemens asset, and what's the implication to the OEM system that it's running? Is it going to crash that system and I've got to start all over? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And it's not an easy process. So there are so many unknowns that just don't really play well together, as I would say.
I agree with you 100%. That's exactly like what happens everywhere. Like it's not that. And sometimes they are telling you, you cannot patch it because if you patch it, we will not give you more, like we will not support. We will stop supporting it because, if something happens. But if I'm going like to lose my, like everything because of your unpatched software or, like I didn't harden it properly. And again, like you just see that even if an attacker or when an attacker managed to get into an environment, they are just moving laterally and find everything. So WebDAV was only example. What if I told you that so many organizations, they still have SMB version 1 enabled and open, especially on the OT side. And what about, I'll give you another example that Microsoft keeps patching. So SMB1, you don't have any more patches, right? Like you just need to disable it. But let's talk about something else. Let's take the print spooler example. Today, especially on the OT, people don't need to print. It's not a must for them, they don't have to print, not from all of the devices all the time, right? Print spooler or cap service. But yet, every other month or once in a quarter, there is a 0 day on the print spooler. Now, the problem is not about that the print spooler is enabled. The problem is that it is enabled by default and running, and you don't have any printings and any printers. Now you don't need it, but you don't know that you don't need it because if, for example, the vendors like Microsoft, like Reddit, like whatever, they would provide a hardened image to the end customer, that would help a lot. Maybe some things wouldn't work at the beginning, but then you will open a little bit, but instead of just keeping everything open all the time and closing almost nothing, let's have the other approach of closing a lot and then open only when needed. And that would help significantly, like on the cyber attacks. We just help all of the organizations to stay. Obviously, we can provide now patching and application control fully, like if you don't use the application, just uninstall it. That's our motto, not only, hey, let's keep, whatever application can be open, but let's harden your OS or your app And let's make sure that you use only the things that you need to use. It can be from Claude to your browsers, to your database, to your web server, to your OS, and many other things. But again, just make sure and you can see this is already proven. If your systems are hardened, then you know for sure that that it will be so hard for someone to move laterally and take everything. It's already proven, and we are happy, of course, like to share more data about it.
Yeah, no, it's almost like you're taking the secure by design approach and saying, look, organizations need to be more proactive in doing this from the start versus relying on the end user or the client to provide security, which is I think is the right approach. From an industry, we all collectively need to grow up and help own this problem. It's not going to fix itself.
Yeah, and as you said, like today we all have the reactive, right? We have the EDRs of the world, but it didn't stop Hugging Face. It didn't stop so many attacks. I had the best EDRs, and they still didn't stop any attack. We have another customer, critical infrastructure, that had a breach a month ago. And by default, our mistake, okay? We kept the tenant open. So instead of closing it, like the other month, and like instead of whatever it was, like February of 2026, we just by accident did February of 2027. So they had the tenant open by default, by mistake. And they saw that everything that the EDR considered as normal behavior was absolutely not a normal behavior. It's everything that you can remediate with Remedio, accessing, admin shares, opening more things, renaming, local admins, doing things that you usually don't do. And that's exactly like why you need to be proactive and not only the reactive, because reactive is good, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And we see the same thing. So if we go back and we look at from a people standpoint, you look at people, process, and technology, kind of how do you see those three working together? Is it mostly a people? Because in the past, I've had hosts on here that have this is a people issue, and some are this is a technology issue, some are this is a process issue. So how would you look at this from a best practices and a try to solve the problem?
Wow. It's a very good question. Now, if you think about where the world is today, you have machine speed detection. Now you need a machine speed remediation. Okay. And here is where we see some problems between tech, process, people. So maybe the tech, we have the tech, everything is good, it works. Okay, so check on that. If there isn't, again, obviously the bigger the organization here is, obviously the more complex. But sometimes there are some places when we do see some, let's say it's job security, when someone they are afraid to do things, they don't want to onboard maybe new tech. So that is one thing. But on the other thing, the process now is sometimes I do hear that new processes today is let's patch within 24 hours, let's patch within, maybe a week, okay? Which I don't know if you know, but these days, it's all about 90 days, 120 days, a very big cycles. And don't forget that patches also break stuff. So now we understand that we need to patch faster or we need to fix faster. It doesn't really matter what. We need the people to be aligned with the process. And here we see a little bit of some collisions. Sometimes, okay, not all the time, but when we have collisions, it's because people, they either don't trust the process or they are afraid that it will impact, or they love the current tech, but the current tech is not fast enough to do things or to close the gap faster. And yeah, we must see this shift ASAP in the industry, because it's no longer about job security. It's no longer about, hey, let's see, you are here for 20 years, great, please stay here for longer. But it's about to adapt faster, like the new tech and just help the organization to be as secure as possible. And by the way, organizations, it's part of the risk, like whatever risk calculation, they can already, they say, okay, my patches today can shut down or can stop something for whatever time, but this is a risk that I can take rather than being, like being targeted and being attacked by someone and being, and pay them or being down, being down for weeks. That is something that we hear recently. It's a change. Some people, they still need to have this journey, especially, and again, it's not easy, especially with the OT environments. If it works, don't touch. That's a great password. I do want to say that there is a mind shift with, with what we see today to what we will see in a couple of months. But again, having this in OT, it will take a bit longer because these are not, the latest and greatest of operating systems. And don't get me wrong, even in banks, you still have the mainframes, right? Or AIX, 400 or whatever, like very old ones. But again, the majority of the operating systems, you can still do something about it. You can still protect. You can still be reactive and proactive with them. There is a small subset. It can be 10, 20, 30% that you cannot move as fast. But for the ones that you can, just do it, okay? Like, don't wait, that the 30%, everything will be ready for them. And then you will start doing it. So, yes, there is a very, 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 I would say, very strict connection between tech, process, and people, as you said. And we need it all to be aligned because I can have the best tech in the world, but people will not want to adapt it. And then, okay, what's in it for me? Or like, what did I do here? So yeah,
I agree. And I think that, even with some of the advancements in tech, you look at the process in the OT space, for example. You've mentioned EDR a couple different times. It's very difficult to put endpoint protection in the operational side because a lot of those assets, they can't do it. It's difficult to put it on an HMI. It's difficult to put it on a PLC, if not impossible. You can run it on an engineering workstation, that's fine, but that isn't all the way down where sometimes it needs to be. So some of that tech and some of those processes don't work as well because of the inherent nature of the way the controls layer works. Organizations don't always realize the differences in the way that an OT environment is constructed and operates versus an IT when some of the leadership is often IT focused, IT trained, and don't have that background for the operational side of the business.
Yeah, and don't forget to add another thing. Right now, with everything about AI, you see a lot of layoffs, right? And like that, people that are asked to leave the organization, and then now you need to do more with less. And when all of the or the management or the board, they are saying, "Oh yeah, you need to adopt more AI, more AI," but do you know what's the risk? And we see so many times, people that they bought, like the enterprise license of Claude or GPT or whatever, and they still, unfortunately, or OpenAI, yeah, but we see how people still log in from their own usernames, like their own Gmail, Hotmail accounts. People, even if you bought the enterprise, what you don't know is, hey, you can store your credentials in clear text. By default, your state local directory is open to the world, the permissions, and the sandbox is not disabled by default. And so many other things that again, like those are the default settings that are so important for us that we do understand why if you don't have them, like again, there will be no one that can tell you, oh, and you need to do A and B and C. No, it's like the default thing that it's both on the IT and the OT, by the way, because even on the OT, the unmanaged devices, the managed devices, you need to understand what is it that you need to do in order to have a better, I would say first, that will be everything correlated, but also like in a control. So it's another great thing that's also worth mentioning about it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, and the topics that you're bringing up are 100% relevant. We often see the significant differences. I like to say, the worst job in the world is that of a CISO, because he has all of the responsibility for security within an enterprise organization, but he has no authority to affect change down in that controls environment because he doesn't own those assets. He doesn't understand, in some cases, what he can and can't do down there and the physical impact. From an IT side, you've got, number one triad in that arrangement is security protection. And on the operational side, it's safety. If it's not safety oriented or if it's not uptime, production oriented, the teams on the plant, they don't care. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to take it on. They don't want to discuss it. They just want you to go away. Finding that balance and being able to come in and look at the OT teams controls, configurations, assets, and say, okay, here's how we could apply a framework or a principle that we could take from the IT side and use a different set of tools or a different methodology to use it on the OT side. I think that's where you can kind of come in and help guide and give that overview. Would you say, maybe?
I mean, spot on. Like, to be honest, that's exactly what we do. We even today, we all need to understand that we are on the same boat. Like we have the IT and the security, they must work together. This is why with Remedio, when eventually someone needs to click on remediate, by the way, they can always revert, okay, everything that they did. So they know it's a self-remediation, but they rely on the IT to do it. So that is one thing. Then the revert also brings it back to the original state. But again, whether it is, like the risk on hardening, the AI govern, the thing that are, that maybe look, oh yeah, I mean, like they take it as obvious. But at the end of the day, we do see that even by default, and believe it or not, even on OT environment, when you kind of, we do see like out of a sudden, like even on servers and some Windows PCs, like whatever Copilot or other Microsoft that you should not have. And people are asking, what's going on? Like, how come we have it? When again, they should not have it, especially not on the OT environment. Those glitches we find all the time. Those glitches are, I would say, like this is what hackers are looking for. And it's everything about, even the patching side that again is very limited on the OT, but everything that you can do just to harden and make sure that it works. And again, our customers speak for themselves, and I love seeing, like their feedback about it, but it's about to do a better together between the IT and the security to make sure that everything is aligned, to continue with the proactive approach of remediation, because at the end of the day, you need to be faster than them.
Oh, well, you talk about faster, and part of the AI conversation that's been going on in the last, I don't know, several years is how quick the adversaries can exploit vulnerabilities to create an exploit within matter of minutes now versus days or weeks or months or whatever. So the zero days or the exploits are coming quicker in more cases than the good guys can stop them because of the advances in AI. So it goes back to better hygiene, more of the proactive and not so much of the reactive. And we've got to get better as an industry. And I agree with you. And it's a point that's worth making again. It's better together when IT and OT work together. They understand each other's role, and there's a collaborative effort to try and protect that enterprise. It's not my team and your team. It's we're all on the same team. And the sooner that organizations realize that, the better off I think we will all be.
I couldn't agree more. Eventually, it's again like it's a team effort, and it's a teamwork. They need to see eye to eye. They need to work together. And again, being more on the proactive side, it doesn't really matter if you have IT, OT, VDIs, cloud, on-prem, as long as you make sure that you do a machine speed remediation instead of only the detection that you have so much of it already. That's a game changer, and that's what you should be focusing on. So yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yep. No, I appreciate your time as we kind of wrap up today. one thing, if you could leave organizations that are trying to figure this out or going down this road or just really aren't sure where to go, what would be one final thought of here's a place to begin? You will say, we've heard you can't eat the elephant in one bite. Okay, so what's a small chunk that would make a meaningful difference within an organization if they had to pick something that would help them? What advice would you give?
The first thing they need to do is to work on their communication and internal communication between what security wants and what IT can achieve as one team. That's if they have it, they will have, it will be way easier for them to achieve anything else. Because if they think as a one team that security comes first, but yeah, I'm not going just to shut down the entire organization for 5 years. But if they think as, hey, okay, what are the quick wins that I can achieve now? What are the easy things for me to do now? That would be way better start. And then it will be easier for them to onboard proactive tools and even to do some proactive job together as a team and not only, like just either fighting with each other or like continue having this massive backlog with nothing to be addressed or almost nothing to be addressed.
No, I think that's great advice. It makes sense. It's sound. And I think if organizations would look at that, it would be a head start from where they are today. Great conversation. I really appreciate your time and insight and your knowledge. Hopefully the listeners take the value that you bring and go back to their organization and say, hey, let's take a look at this.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, 100%. And again, happy to support. And I do believe it's the right thing to do as definitely the starting point. And thank you so much for having me, Craig. And I'm wishing you a wonderful day.
Thanks, Tal. Thank you so much. Great conversation.
Thanks for tuning in to the Industrial Cybersecurity Insider. To stay up to date with our latest episodes, be sure to click the follow or subscribe button now. And if you found this podcast helpful or have a topic you'd like us to discuss, please leave us a review or let us know. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.